welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. I am Randy, this is Dan, and we are in the flesh. No more Zoom, no divider. We are here, we are Buffalo Bills pregame, and we are coming at you for our Super Bowl season! Or not, who knows? Either we will be in the Super Bowl or we won't, and that is the one thing that we do know. And what's so great about sports is the unknown. So let's not kid about anything else. The top story for every Bills fan this year is this realistically a Super Bowl team? Dan, take it away.
So I would say that you'd be pretty crazy to not think that this was a Super Bowl, at least contender. I think a lot of analysts, guys on ESPN, Fox, stuff like that. A lot of guys, I've seen a couple people pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl, which is something I've never, been a part of. I've never been around for people actually seriously thinking the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. I think definitely, yeah. I mean, with the way that we were winning games at the end of the season last year and then throughout the playoffs, obviously, bad things happened against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were a much better team than us in that game. But I think, besides the Chiefs, I think the Bills are easily the second best team in the AFC, and I think there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to repeat that this year.
Absolutely. When you look around at the competition, first off, within the division, with Cam Newton being left behind by the Patriots, it feels like we are sitting uncontested atop the AFC East in a position that we haven't been before. I've talked to some Patriot fans who they don't feel that they're conceding the season by getting rid of a former MVP quarterback, but I really don't see this as anything but Belichick trying to be the best he can in the next couple of years to get the most wins of all time. I think Belichick's one and only goal is to stick around long enough to get enough wins to be the winningest coach in NFL history, and so I think he's willing to take a step back this year in order to get some more talent to finish out that job in terms of his personal accomplishments. And I just don't think Miami can get out of its own way, and the Jets aren't really serious contenders for anything other than the bottom of the league. So with the competition within the division being as clear-cut, in my opinion, as has been forever, and throughout the rest of the conference, the Steelers, our opponent, we will get to, maybe not as strong as, undeniably you can't say Big Ben isn't in the twilight of his career with his skills declining. The Chiefs obviously are the big hurdle to climb, but in the course of a 17-game season, anything can happen. I think when you look around at the competition, even taking what the Bills have done, the competition is probably as ripe for the picking as it's ever been in recent memory, and that is part of the big excitement. Let's focus on this specific game for a little bit. The offensive side of the ball, we didn't have an especially balanced offense last year, maybe a little bit more the year before, but it has been very pass-heavy as Allen has come into his own. Do you foresee the Bills sticking to a more pass-heavy, kind of trending the way of the NFL, or as Singletary separates himself more as the lead back, it would seem that Zack Moss is taking more of a RB2 role as opposed to like a 1A, 1B as it had been the other season. As Singletary separating himself, will he see more touches as a running back this season?
So I think, actually I saw a quote earlier, Josh Allen was being interviewed. He said when he first started in 2018, he said he was more of a people pleaser. He was going with the calls that were given to him, and now he said if he doesn't like it, he's not running that play. So I really think I trust Josh Allen's instincts enough that if they want to pass as much as they did last year, and they did pass a lot last year, if they want to keep passing like that, I have no problem with that. If Josh Allen can keep performing how he's been performing, I don't see why you wouldn't want that. They were such an explosive offense last year. I mean, you do want to have some sort of a run game, though, because when you get later into the playoffs, that's kind of something that's going to be important. You want to have a well-rounded offense. And I do think Singletary, for what it's worth, has looked pretty good in the preseason. I think he has a chance to have a breakout year, as well as Zack Moss. I think he's a nice third-down running back. And then even Matt Breida, I think he can be somewhat like a pass-catching running back, kind of have that versatility. So I think it wouldn't hurt to mix in a little bit more running, but if Josh Allen keeps performing the way he has, I don't see the problem with continuing to pass a lot.
Well, Pittsburgh had been the second-ranked pass defense last year and the 13th-ranked rush defense last year, so maybe this is the time to audible into that halfback dive after all.
Right.
Looking over at the other side of the ball, how do you think Najee Harris will do against a run defense that struggled last year for the Bills? And how big a difference do you think having star lotulelei returning, the big man in the middle, for our rush defense?
So I think absolutely the Buffalo defense improved, especially the defensive line. I think we all saw that this year with all the draft picks that they used and the signings. So I think that's definitely going to be patched up. Star, with his injury, we're not 100% sure if he's going to be playing, I don't think, for week one. If he's injured, hopefully Harrison Phillips will be able to go. We were talking about this earlier. I feel like this is an unpopular opinion among Bills fans. I'm not the biggest fan of Star. I think he's getting paid a lot of money to be a run stuffer, to be a space filler. And we got a lot of young guys who look really good. I think A.J. Epenesa, he looked really good. Rousseau has looked great in the preseason. So it's really looking like the defensive line is coming together. And we saw it in the Super Bowl last year. That was how the Bucs beat the Chiefs, really, I would say, is that they got after Patrick Mahomes and really disrupted his play. And I think the Bills saw that and addressed that this season. So I think they've definitely improved. And in terms of run stopping, I think they got a lot of guys up there that they can rotate. I think they'll be much better.
Yeah, I think you tempt them into trying to beat you by running. I think, allowing that be the weakness to your defense and threaten the other team to come at you with the run game might be the most strategically best. Let the other offense run out the clock, wear out their offensive linemen, and then when they need to come up from behind, because we're scoring points no matter what, your tired offensive linemen have to block our pass rushers. So maybe that's part of the strategy. Maybe it's the 3D chess that McDermott's going to be playing. But I think one thing you did mention, a huge gain for our defense is the addition by not subtraction, but we got Milano back to play with Edmunds, that the middle of the defense is maintained, and that you can add a bunch of rookies and new parts on the defensive line, but that you have a steady core. So I don't know, it's just so great being a team now where players want to come back, even if it means not taking more money elsewhere, that Milano wanted to come play for this defense. So wanted to make that note while we had the chance. Big topic of discussion and something that I probably have an unpopular opinion on, but it is something that we need to talk about because the Bills might be only here for 2 more years. The contract is up at the stadium, and it would seem that the Paladinos, or the Pegulas, are looking for a new stadium at a pretty significant cost to the taxpayers. Let's not try to get too political, I suppose, but what are your thoughts on a new stadium for the Bills?
Well, I think first and foremost, I don't think the Bills are going anywhere. I don't think they're going to be moving to Austin or, whatever that was about. I'm confident in the Pegulas that they wouldn't move the Bills out of Buffalo. That being said, I don't have too strong of an opinion on the new stadium. I really like how the stadium is now. It's old-fashioned. It's kind of like Arrowhead Stadium or Lambeau. It's the polar opposite of what the Raiders Stadium or the Cowboys Stadium is. But I feel like that kind of gives you that Buffalo feel, which I think is a good thing, but at the same time that doesn't make as much money. And I think what they're going for is a smaller stadium, more suites, less drunk people, less bleachers, stuff like that. So in terms of location, I do like it, I think, in Orchard Park. That gives you more space for tailgating and stuff. I think something that is important to Bills fans.
Yeah, very authentic to the Bills football experience.
Yeah, but there's pros and cons to moving it downtown. I think they're basically settled on keeping it in Orchard Park. But like I said, I don't have too strong an opinion on it. I think what they're doing now, I didn't want them to build a new stadium, but I've come to grips with it now that it's going to happen. So I'm okay with the decision.
Well, there was the report that was going to be the end of the stadium as it stands, the concrete's falling to pieces. We all saw those pictures that came through in the Buffalo News. like the stadium's only going to last for so much time, and this one's kind of the end of its life. You can only put lipstick on that pig for so long. In terms of moving the population of the stadium in and out all the time, it would require some big changes in infrastructure, other places, like to get the stadium to the outer harbor or where the Perry projects are now. You'd have to move highways and stuff, and that is, you're adding on huge costs to an already expensive project. So they have that big lot across the street on the ECC campus is where the proposal is. Ultimately, I have no real issues with the stadium, and no matter where you're trying to move it, you're going to have a not in my backyard crowd. So one advantage to putting it next door to where it is now is that the not in my backyard argument has been over for 50 years already. Right. So that's one less obstacle. They're looking for a smaller stadium, and part of the argument being that you'll be able to use for more events throughout the year, and I certainly hope so, because outside of high school football sports that are attended by a couple hundred and the concert every 3 years or so, like the stadium is just massively underused, and in other cities it is not the case, and it would be really nice to have a convention center kind of thing or something that could be done with it. So I'm not against the idea of a new stadium on principle whatsoever. What I am against is a single penny of public funds going to support buoy up billionaires. You're lucky enough to be part of an exclusive club of owning one of the 32 of these franchises that exist in the entire world. Like, that is a very, very elite spot, and very few people have that right or ability. But I think one of the burdens that comes with that is that you should have to pony up the money for the stadium in which your team to play without any help from the public. I understand that there is a public benefit, that we do benefit financially as a region for having the Bills, but there's a public detriment to the mental, the suffering that we've all gone through. Like, I think the benefit to society and like the mental anguish we've suffered as a result, I think that we can just call that a wash. And we have the billionaires pay for their own buildings, and we keep on giving them our undying love and adoration. Like, I feel like that should be enough, and we shouldn't be out. And if it comes down to it, I will campaign to make sure we don't spend any money. So if the Bills end up leaving because we don't pay for the stadium, then it's my small part. I apologize in advance.
I would have to agree with you. I think there's no reason for a guy like me or you or Jared to be giving out money to billionaires, and when they can afford it, and they'll still be profiting from anything that's related to the Bills. So definitely agree with you on that. I think it's unlikely that there will be no money coming from the public. But
I fear my enthusiasm for the cause will be insufficient to like convince everyone to my side. But I reserve the right to bitch about it. Back on, I think I got my first bleep in Buffalo Bills pregame history. Back to what people really want to talk about, the game against the Steelers. What do you think the chances are? What we got to pick for the Bills? Who's going to win?
At first, I was feeling really good about the Bills in the preseason, and I know it doesn't matter. It's preseason. I think you had a group of Bills fans being like, "Wow, the Bills look great in this preseason. They look unstoppable." Coming off of last year's season, and then you had most of the people being like, "It's preseason. It doesn't mean that much." I was feeling really good about the Bills earlier. I was thinking that we were going to kill the Steelers. I'm going to take that back, but I still do think that the Bills are a better team, more prepared. So I'm going to go with 24-10 Bills.
All right. That's a good defensive outing, too, if we hold Big Ben to 10. I'm definitely the latter, like just preseason, but I felt the opposite. I felt like everyone was like Superbowl. Like, I felt like the vast majority was taking a lot of weight of the success of the preseason. I'm going to have the Bills winning as well. Bit more points because I want to watch a game that's good. I'm going to say 30-20 Bills. Woohoo! But on to bigger and more important things. I've been doing pretty well predicting the season, so I'll have you go first, Dan. What? What's our victory?
I'm not gonna lie. The 17-game season, it doesn't sound as nice. 13-4. Well, I'm gonna go with 13-4, but 16 games. It's easier that way. Like instead of a team going 9-8, 8-8 sounds better.
Are you
whatever?
Are you often scared of new things?
I am. Yes, I would say so.
All right, 13-4. All right, I think this is where I'm supposed to mention that our producer Jared is predicting a 12-5 season. Big jump improvement from his prediction from last year, but he's been doing so poorly that I don't know what to deal with that information. All we can say is that because Jared predicted 12-5, it probably won't be 12-5. So
Yeah.
I am going to go with 15-1-1, baby. Super Bowl. I don't know. We have to get home field advantage. We're 12-3 at home in the playoffs and 4-11 away. So if we're going to make it to the Super Bowl, we need the home field advantage, and I don't know what better way to do it than 15-1-1. That's right.
I agree. I would agree with that.
We reserve the right, as always, to come back with Buffalo Bills pregame whenever we so choose. But at the very latest, we'll be back to review the Chiefs game. And until then, thank you so much, Buffalo Bills fans.